Get to our trivia answer. So, before we get to the Cowboys and Sam Williams tearing his ACL. So, trivia question one more time. The Cowboys are tied for third with the third most playoff wins in NFL history. Who are the three teams that have more than them or are tied with them?
Okay.
Chuck's
going with the Packers.
You're going with one of the teams being the Packers. You guys this can be group trivia. You guys can give me some teams together.
Okay, my theory is that the Packers of the great Packer teams of the 60s played less games, less rounds.
A lot of them were also in the
so
pre-NFL merger, pre-Super Bowl.
So I'm going to say that the Steelers and Niners and Patriots are the three teams, and that the Steelers are tied, and that the Niners and Patriots have more.
Okay. Bob, anything?
That sounds good to me. Yeah, that sounds good.
Isn't the default always the Packers? I'll go with that. Just the Packers. Packers 1, 1A, 1C, 1B.
Can you tell Chuck's a Packer fan?
Yes. The Packers are incorrect.
Really?
Don, you have it.
13 championships? Oh, okay.
Less rounds. It's like those Boston Celtics.
Don has it right on the nose. The Niners have 38. They're in 1. They're in first. Patriots have 37. They're in second. Steelers and Cowboys are tied for third. They have 36.
Very nice.
See, this goes back to the misnomer of like Bill Russell, right? He won 11 rings, and I think he won. Look this up. How many playoff games did Bill Russell win?
Let me get on that.
Sorry. Tim Duncan has, I think, 158 playoff wins, and I think Bill Russell has like 70.
Wow.
But see, he won 11 rings, but they didn't play.
Well, they went right to the...
You won one series and you were in the finals. And that's kind of the way the NFL was before the merger. And even after the merger, before they added the wild card and then the other wild card...
He's 107.
There were less rounds. Yeah, and Tim's got one.
So you're saying it's an exponents thing?
I'm saying you went more playoff games.
Until his last couple of years, Bill Russell had 8 per year because it was 2 rounds. It was just the semis and the finals. And then it ended up being 12 by his last couple of years.
Yeah.
So let's get to the Cowboys. First, by the way, they've won 5 playoff games since that final Super Bowl, which is why they're third on the list and not first, because they've only won 5 playoff games. They used to be first since their final Super Bowl. They've won 5 playoff games.
Wow. 30 years.
Yep. So let's get to Cowboys training camp. So obviously we all got the news yesterday. Horrible. Our intrepid, fantastic photojournalist Jack Green. Javier, can you throw up that B-roll for me? This is what Jack Green saw when Sam Williams got injured. That's him right there. He goes down in a heap. Sam Williams tearing his ACL, the second-year D lineman. Obviously, that hurts to see any player go down, but especially for Sam, because he was coming in and he was going to play this year. He didn't play much last year, and we have a little bit of a bite from that as well of an interview that I think you did, Chuck, with Sam, saying that he shouldn't have been buried on the depth chart like he was. But let's hear that, and then we'll talk about Sam.
Sam. His slate is clean. He don't have like, oh, this guy's gonna be here, this guy's gonna be here. It's like whoever do it the right job is gonna be on the field, which is I love that. Coming in with older guys ahead of me, like I feel like I never had that fair chance of like competing, because me personally, like people might get mad at them, but I don't care. Like I feel like I wasn't the 7th best defensive lineman. Well, I know I wasn't. So. With that being said, like, I just like the fact that Zim came in and like everybody get the same opportunities to prove you need to be on the field.
Chuck, you were listening to what Zimmer said on the radio a little earlier. You want to talk about that point?
Yeah, he said, it's really a shame because he really was going to play. He was going to play 75% of the time. So they had big plans for Sam Williams. I think you got to, at least a modicum of what he was trying to relay there, that he was pretty confident that he was going to get on the field in a lot this year. And, it goes back to what he was saying, too. He was looking forward to a fresh start in that if you can play and you know where you're supposed to be, you're going to be on the field a lot for this Cowboy defense. And, it's a damn shame. This was going to be a big year for Sam Williams in a lot of ways, I think in the finance department, too. So, now he's going to have to sit this one out. And, again, it's it's just a darn shame when you see guys that are finally going to get their opportunity, maybe have an opportunity to really increase what their second bag's going to look like, and then this happens. It's just it's sad.
Well, then there's a couple of factors, right? It's the Sam Williams factor, which is just it's bad for him. It sucks for him as a person, as a player. You never wish that injury or any injury upon anybody. And then you have the team aspect of it, which is where does this leave their defensive line? They were going to be relying on Sam. They're going to be relying on a lot of young guys to take big leaps, including him. He was one of the guys that we were talking about, along with the DeMarvion Overshones and all the other, the Mozzie Smiths of the world. They're going to be relying on guys like that, and now one of them goes down. It brings into question the depth that they have on this defense and on this entire team.
Well, they do have a lot of versatile players, and I don't know if, they wanted to move Micah. There was a lot of talk after the Packers ran it right down their throat that Micah was overused on the edge and that they want to see Micah get tougher in the middle and attack the run stronger than he did because he started to become one-dimensional as an edge pass rusher. Maybe he has to go back to the edge and maybe they play Overshown in the middle. I don't know, but their versatility helps them even though the numbers are down. And the rookie kid, Nealon.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to have to take a big step up,
Yeah.
Marshawn Nealon.
Yeah. So I don't know.
But also Micah's lost 10 pounds. Like, when you don't have a lot of lead in your ass, you're not going to be playing in the middle of this defense sometime. Like, you got to have a Mozzie Smith in there. You got to
But
have.
I don't think he wants to play like Urlacher.
I would guess that would be the case too.
Yeah.
He was one direction, and it's north.
Yeah, but when you lose guys like a Dorrance Armstrong, like a Neville Gallimore, you don't have the depth on that D line. You have Mozzie Smith in the middle. You have Tank Lawrence, and you have Micah, and you have Fahoko. Who else do they have
They
on
don't
that
have
D
any
line?
big fat guys down there on the
Not
on the
not
nose?
many.
Mozzie.
Yeah.
They're trying to get Mozzie less fat. So
Yes, I know. You said big fat guy. That was, and he's not
Did
a
they
big fat
draft
guy too.
rookies?
He'll make a leap too. I mean, again, luckily this happened early in camp, but this is what happens, right? I mean, you go through training camp, you're trying to figure out what you are, and there's going to be some pairing as we go through this thing, and some of it's not because of just guys aren't good enough to make the team.
you also just can't be surprised when in a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, when cuts start being made, that they bring in a couple of DNs or they bring in some backup because, one, they need bodies, but two, they need guys that can relieve Micah because you saw late last year, Micah got tired. He's a beast. He's a lion. He's going to go out there and give you his all, but he can only do so much. He needs a blow every once in a while. And when you bring in those other guys, then you can give him a chance to rest.
Well, that's where Cowboy fans can rest easy because they have full confidence in their general manager, Jerry Jones, that he knows all of the players around the league and knows exactly the answer.
Speaking of Jerry Jones, he sat down with our Zach Hedrick yesterday, I believe, and he talked a little bit about Dak Prescott's contract. He was asked by Zach, do you need to get Dak done now? And this was his answer.
It doesn't have to be now. And to his credit, Dak is in here full blown because all players with contracts to lever in a negotiation don't necessarily come into camp. Well, here Dak is in camp, getting ready to be what we all want him to be, and that's have another year even better than last year if that's possible.
You know,
Jerry has been talking a lot. Yeah. That's his third interview we've seen with him.
He talks himself in circles, though. Here's what he said. At the press conference, he said, we're all in for this year. Quote, Dak has his contract for this year, so why don't we all just narrow the focus to right now, stop thinking about what's 2 and 3 years down the road, and let's see what we can do this year. That told me, okay, he wants Dak to play this year without an extension, and we'll talk after the season because he also brought up the playoffs. Let's look at this playoff season is what he said and see what happens in that. Okay, so Dak's going to play the whole year with no extension, see if he wins a playoff game, and then you match whatever offer he gets. That's what it sounded like. And then the next day he goes and says, we're talking. I'm talking to Dak's people. So the only thing that I can think is happening is, okay, we're talking. If you'll come in at $40 million, we'll sign you. But this 55, 60 stuff, then we're going to wait and see. That's my guess. But
I don't know if they're not going to be offering lower than 50.
whatever the number is, Tua gets signed. All these guys are getting
Jordan
signed. But Jerry's like, okay, no, we're going to see what happens this year.
But the difference with those guys, Tua and Jordan Love, those guys are getting their first bag.
Yeah.
Dak's already gotten his first bag. So, I mean, you're building your roster out based on, okay, Jordan Love now gets his deal. Tua now gets his deal. Now you're basing the rest of your roster on what are those years going to look like now that those guys have signed their long-term deals. It's kind of hard to do that if you're the Cowboys, if Dak is now looking for another bag that's in the same neighborhood as the first one he got.
What if I
And
gave
the-
you? Sorry, go ahead.
The other thing that Jerry brought up Saturday, I think, was that he knows better than anyone what
the cap's gonna
revenue is going to look like and what cap's going to look like. He says, right, salary cap never goes down. He goes, well, it went down in COVID. And then he hinted at the $12 billion judgment against the NFL by the Sunday Ticket lawsuit. That if they have to pay $12 billion, he was like, maybe the cap's not going up 2 years from down the road. Now, it just might be an excuse for him to not pay Dak, but that was he was hinting at. Like, I know better than anyone. Like, the Dolphins give to a 55. That's great. But I know better that something's come down the pike that's not what the cap's going to be. Like, maybe they lower the cap because the revenue is going to go down.
I also am starting. I just sit there at night and think of scenarios like this. What if they're trying to do something similar to what the Chiefs did? The Chiefs signed Patrick Mahomes to a $450 million contract for 10 years. That looks great now. $45 million for the best quarterback in the league. Awesome. What if they're trying to add those years on, and that's what Dak's trying not to get? Because that was the problem in the last negotiation. They wanted 5 years. He wanted 4 years. He ended up getting 4 years, and they had the number set. This time, the number is also a question, but the years could also be a question. Because what if him knowing the salary cap, as he says he does, he wants him to get 6 years for 55. Okay, now you locked that in. So when the next 10 people come up and try and get their bags in the next few years, the Caleb Williamses of the world, the Jaden Danielses of the world, when they try and get those bags, then you're going to have Dak locked in at 55
He's
for
going
6
into
years.
year 9.
I understand that. I'm just painting a scenario for you.
How much longer do you think he's going to play?
I mean, probably a good 7-8 years.
Yeah, I mean, I think they need to take care of CD first and then worry about the rest of this stuff later. If it happens, it happens.
That's going to happen.
I mean,
CD's going to get done. I think I've come to that conclusion
Yeah.
that CD's going to get done here in the next 2 weeks.
I think so too.
I would highly doubt that they're not going to sign CD, even though I was pretty skeptical last week. Bob,
I mean, he's
anything?
earned the right to get that money.
Yeah.
Just a Spurs fan said this Cowboys fan is tired of these Jerry Jones Cowboys. I'm ready for my own NFL team in San Antonio, Austin area, the Texas Rattlers.
Okay.
Texas Rattlers.
We would take
We
that.
all are. Never going to happen.
How many
Unfortunately.
times? How many times?
Anything else, Bob?
Just analysis from me.
Oh,
I think
Browns fan.
I think this may very well be one of the worst Cowboys teams, like almost what going all the way back to what was it, the Herschel Walker right in that time. I mean they look
80s.
really bad to me.
Yeah. No, what did I say? What did I say? What did I pick him to go?
I don't know. We haven't done it yet.
Okay.
Are we gonna do that? What do you think?
We're going to do that eventually.
Like 6-12?
6 and 11,
Is it 18 games this year?
17 games.
6-11?
Hell
7
hath
and 10?
hell hath no fury like guys playing for a bag, dude. We'll see. The team's not that much different than it was.
They're not that much different. They say this is a good team. It's not a 12-5 team. I don't think it's not a 13-4 team. I don't think, which just sounds weird. 17 games just sounds odd, but 13-4 just doesn't sound like a record you should have. But I digress. They're a 9-8. They're a 10-7 team. That's what they are. It depends on the injury situation because they don't have any depth. They have no depth on this
They
entire
have
team.
no running back.
It speaks to the depth.
They have depth. They just
you
have
getting
young
sick on
depth.
us?
Pardon me?
You getting sick on us?
I am.
You
Yes.
can't get sick before your vacation, Chuck. You got it.
No, that's the
room is
goal.
too
Get
small.
sick before you get to vacation. Then vacation, you're healed up.
Hey,
We'll
real quick, shout out to Sean Elliott, right? I saw your
Oh,
tweet.
Yeah, shout out Sean
Yeah.
Elliott. Get well soon, Ninja.
Yeah.
You want to say what happened real
He
quick?
had, this is the kind of a cool story in that everything's turned out okay so far. His Apple Watch warned him that he had an irregular heartbeat, and his wife, after a couple weeks of him saying this is weird, Why don't we go to the doctor? And he's got atrial fibrillation, which can cause stroke. So they shocked his heart back into a regular rhythm, and he's doing better.
Shocked him.
Yeah.
Well, happy that Sean is okay. I saw that last night when we were in between shows, I think.
I want to. If you've ever gotten that, mine wasn't irregular heartbeat, but I went on a run and I came home, cooled down. It was 105 out. It was like 2 summers ago. And my heart rate, I didn't know it, but my heart rate had stayed high. So my resting heart rate's 60s, 70s, and it was like when I run, it's 145, 150. Well, like 2 hours after I had run, it was still at like 120, and it was like, this is not
It's
good.
like, you need to chill, bro.
Yeah, like, and it's a red warning on your watch.
I miss when I played football and my resting heart rate was like 44.
Mine just tells me to.
I was just
it's
chill
time
all
for
the-
bourbon
all
and
day.
cigars.
It's time for you to what?
I'm with Bob.
It's just bourbon and cigar time is what.
Yeah.
mine
Oh
tells me.
yeah. Wasn't John Stockton's resting heart rate something like 12? It was ridiculous. He was in such great cardiovascular
He was always
shape.
cool under pressure. All right, that's all we got for you today on the Sneakers and Cleats podcast. Remember to download, rate, review, subscribe, give us a 5-star rating, tell a friend, tell an enemy. We'll be back on Thursday. Don won't be here, but Chuck and I will be here on Thursday. We will talk to you guys then.
Peace.